So next topic is Qt framework again, and we're going to see network request for content from a URL, right? So the web scraping. So you have a URL and you want to read all of the HTML content from that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we have a URL, and using the network request, we'll pass that URL and we'll show the all the HTML coding in our cout using standard cout. Okay, so for this one, again, we are going to have a console application first. So we'll create a Qt console application, and we can call this as a Qt URL or Qt network, whatever you want to call it. This will have main CPP only, because if that's the console, then we are going to get only the main.cpp by default. And once we created a project, we can add these two lines into the CMake list of text at the bottom. So this says that find packages network. So basically we are saying that we need this package network, and this network package will also be linked with this project Qt URL. Okay, so target link library. So any library that we are using is linked with this project. Find the package and link it with the library. Next, that's our main.cpp. And this is updated main.cpp. In this, we are going to add some libraries, some functions to pass this and connect also. Okay, so this is the Q core application, and this is, I think, by default. And now we added a few libraries and headers. It's a Q network header, and in the Q network header, we are going to use Q network access manager and the Q network reply for our request and responses. So we'll send a request to get the page, and we'll get the page and we'll pass that. And Q debug to display some messages, right? And then we need Q event loop to wait for asynchronous data from the network, right? So Q event loop will wait, will stop this program, will hold this program till that data is available from the network. We should not be proceeding till we get the complete data from the URL. Print HTML. So this is a function that will pass some HTML, which is a Q string. We'll pass that, and it will just say done, means the data is available now, and that's the data. So that's the last statement. When the data is available, we'll say print HTML, and it say done, means everything is over now, and that's your content. So this is our main. So this is same argc argv, and we have Q application, which is argc. So this is by default, right? So in this, we are initializing core application for the event-driven support. Nothing much here. So this is our Q string HTML. So that's our Q string, and we say debug start. So now going to it just will message and the standard cout that it is stopped. Okay. Now first we create a manager to handle the network request. So we are going to say send a request, get a reply. So that's our manager, Q network access manager. Okay, so Q network request, we have the request here, and that's the Q URL. And in the Q URL, we are passing, for example, vt.edu. We say that that's the URL and that's our request, and we pass this. We created this request of type Q network request, right? So that's our request now, request object. Now we are saying that get that request. So we are sending get request to get a reply. So that's a reply. So we'll get a pointer to the Q network reply, and we're giving this request to the manager dot get. Okay, so we pass this, and then we are blocking this program till we get the reply. So we're saying Q event loop. Use an event loop to wait for the reply to finish. So when this is finished, so this loop will be over, and now we are here. So we have connected this here. So connect the finished signal of the reply. So when this reply is finished, right, and then the loop will quit. So that the loop will be over. So that's how we uh, linked this reply with the loop. So we're saying that reply, that's the reply, which is an object, right? So we're passing this object reply, and this finished is a signal. So function of this finished signal, a finished function of the reply is acting as a signal, and the loop is another object, and this one is quit. So quit is something which is the slot. So we're saying that this reply finished is connected with the loop quit, right? So when the reply is emitted, the finished signal is emitted, the loop will quit. So we are here now. And then we started this loop actually, loop.execute. It starts the event loop, but it quit is called on this loop when the finished is emitted, right? So this is how the loop, we are blocking this program. Now we're checking for errors, if there are errors or not. So we're saying reply errors. If reply, we call the error. And if this is equal to no error, there should not be any error reported by the error function. So if this is no error, QNetwork reply no error, then we are getting read all. We get all the reply read all. So we get complete reply and we saved it into the Q string, which is the HTML. And then we can call print HTML, right? So that's we pass this HTML and this can say done and that. Else, if there is some error, it shows that reply error string. So in the Q debug, we are saying that's the error there. And now we can delete the reply object. We can say reply delete later. So once it has printed, and then we can call the delete. And that's it. Execute the application with the event loop. So once we run this, and then this is the complete code, and that's the output. We'll see start, done, and then the complete HTML code you can see in your standard C out of the home page. Now, sometime we want to get the status of the download, right? So many bytes have been downloaded, and that's how, and then once it has been fully downloaded, but we want to know the progress. So in this case, use append to store received data. So you received some data, and then you received more data, and then you want to append this data. So your data is coming, your string is getting built up. So that's what we are going to simulate in this. So that's called Qt URL append. It's possible that you will get the complete data all of a sudden because this is a very small web page, but for larger files, so it's useful. The data is stored locally and is downloaded. Okay, so this is a project called Qt URL append. So that's how we can name it differently also. And since we want to use the network package, so we are saying that we need to update the cmake-list.txt. Here we're saying link find package required components network, and with this one link library with the network, right? So, and then coming to the main, again, the same library, Q core application, and these are the network access manager, network reply, Q debug, event loop, everything same. Print HTML, same. Only now will be different, right? So how to make the connections. So this is same. So we get HTML string. So we will keep on adding to this HTML. So this is a new Q string. And now we're saying the start. So we get the manager, we class manager object, and then we created the request object, and we're seeing manager dot get request, same thing, and that will get us the reply. Okay, now we created a lambda function here, and in this lambda function we are passing the reply and the HTML string, and we are saying reply read all, and then append to the HTML. Right. So whenever this function is called, it will read what is available, and will append to the HTML string, which is our Q string. Now we are connecting the signal and slot. So connect reply ready read. So now it's not the finished. We are saying ready read. So this reply object has a function called ready. So there is some data which is ready to read. And we are connecting this with the slot function, which is the lambda function one. So that's what we define here. So that's our slot function. So this slot function is called and is stored in the HTML on the same object. Okay, so this is our slot function, which is an independent function, and that's called. And this independent function will add everything to the HTML, right? And this is our on the slot signal is by the reply object. Now, so We connected this. Now, next is we are also showing not only this that you have read, but we're showing how many bytes have been read. So there's another lambda function. So we're saying that we're passing this reply object again, like earlier also we passed this reply object. We're passed this reply object and we're saying that some passing the parameters bytes received, bytes total. So Q debug progress, bytes received, and bytes total. And this will be displayed. This is also connected. Lambda function 2 is also connected with the download progress of the reply object. Okay, so the download progress will give us when the download progress is signaled, this signal is emitted, so this function will be run. Right, so when we will report that okay, there is some download progress, so then it will say how many bytes received, how many bytes total. Third signal is finished. So when this data is finished, then the slot is run. This is another lambda function. So it says that this lambda function, we pass everything and it just prints the complete HTML. Right, so it just prints and then that's the final dot execute. Right, so that's the complete code, and that once it's there, so it will show start, then it says progress, so many bytes from this bytes done, and when it's done, finish signal comes, and then it will show the all of the output from that HTML file. Thank you.